Hello and welcome to the free homeopathy webinar. I'm going to share my screen so you can see the webinar. Well, that is not what I want to share. One second. Let me fix my screen and then I will share it. Okay, share. Okay, so now I'm sharing my screen. So we are going to talk about today what is homeopathy. Thank you so much for being here. This is a webinar just to teach people about what homeopathy is, because I feel like the more and more I work with clients, the more and more I realize people don't know what it is, and that is not your fault. That is the reason. The reason is it's intended to be that way. So I wanted to share this with you so you can get an idea of what homeopathy is and kind of get an understanding. And actually today is April 10th, which is World Homeopathy Day. So it's actually that's the day we honor homeopathy, or the birth of homeopathy, due to the founder of homeopathy, who is Samuel Hahnemann. So I'm really excited to share this with you today. Let's get into it. What is homeopathy? So I am Vanessa Bolden. I'm a classical homeopath. Um, a little bit about me. Besides being a classical homeopath, I am also a um, I am also a certified with the Applied Quantum Biology Collective, so I'm a certified there as well in Applied Quantum Biology. I am a level 1 rhythmic movement trainer, so I teach people how to use simple rhythmic movements that support their nervous system and reintegrate primitive reflexes. And I'm also an ancestral health practitioner as well. So through my own healing journey, I've gathered quite a bit of certifications, right? And yeah, I am very passionate about helping others overcome health struggles through holistic healing. I coach my clients to implement or make simple lifestyle changes that make a huge impact on health. And in conjunction, I use homeopathic medicine to uproot real root causes of diseases. I certainly understand what it's like to be at the bottom of a health crisis, and that because I've been through it, I've gone through years of chronic pain, chronic insomnia, suicidal depression, fatigue, this allows me to bring a great deal of compassion, empathy, support to my clients, and I'm definitely a dedicated healer. Will be your support on this journey. So, how did I become a homeopath and a health coach? Well, like most healers, I've had my own healing journey with pain and suffering that led me down, an alternative path. I became really sick with several autoimmune diseases, including Raynaud's, which is where you lose circulation in your fingers and they become yellow and numb. Alopecia areata, I had these giant bald spots in my head. Um, Interstitial cystitis, which is like a chronic bladder inflammation, and also Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So I just was super inflamed, right? I suffered with debilitating chronic pain, severe depression, felt lost, alone, and really scared. It was a dark time, and I thought that I would never really recover, honestly, in those moments. And I literally tried everything to heal. I started with conventional medicine, then functional medicine, then naturopathic medicine, acupuncture, pelvic floor therapy, energy devices, you name it, I tried it. I was open to anything, but I just couldn't make traction until I found actually circadian biology, lifestyle practices and principles, which was, for me, it was getting up and seeing the sun, grounding, spending a lot of time outside in the sun, a lot of time in nature, a lot of time in, activating that parasympathetic, blocking artificial light at night. That was my first ticket to healing. And there was many other things that I did, but then moving into classical homeopathy, working with the homeopath, and deciding to become a homeopath, all of this has been super healing. So these are the only really modalities that I found to be supportive, but actually now I've actually also integrated the primitive reflexive movements and I found them to be supportive too. So for me, those are the things that I have found to be supportive. Um, so this is why I'm certified in the modalities that I become certified in, because they're what I believe in, because they're what I've struggled with these things, and then that brought me to this, right? Um, so I promised myself when I found solutions, I would share them with the world, work with people, and help people heal. My suffering has, of course, led to a greater purpose in life, and I truly understand what it's like to be at the bottom of a health crisis. And again, that allows me to have support and empathy for what people are going through and just to share as much as I can and to help people heal. I wanted to share a little bit about what homeopathy is. So, of course, that's what this is about. So, what is homeopathy? Homeopathy is actually an ancient system of medicine created by the late and great Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. And he was a chemist and a scholar and a physician. And this system of medicine is based on the law of similars. So this states that a person with a disease, or this law states that a disease can be cured by a substance if that substance can cause in a healthy person symptoms similar to those of the disease. And the word homeopathy actually means similar suffering. So Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, he was, like I said, he was a physician. He was kind of like aggravated or just frustrated with the, way that they were doing medicine at this time. It was in the 1800s. It was kind of barbaric. It was kind of bloodletting, a lot of mercury, a lot of toxicity. They weren't getting results, and he just was frustrated and he left it. And he actually started to translate medical texts, and he came across this idea of like cures like. Now, he did not discover like cures like. He came across it, and it was using the substance of cinchona bark to actually cure malaria or to elicit the same symptoms of malaria. So he did his first proving, which is the scientific studies in homeopathy, where he proved it on himself, and he himself took cinchona bark and developed malaria, the symptoms of malaria. Once he stopped taking it, those symptoms went away. But this was the idea of like cures like. Well, if it can cause this, it can also cure this. And cinchona bark is a remedy that's used to cure malaria, or was used to cure malaria. Now, what Hahnemann discovered was not like cures like. That's been around since Hippocrates' time. It's a very old thing. But what he discovered was dilution and succussion, which we're going to talk about. So it's taking these substances from nature that can cure diseases, but removing all the toxicity and giving them in this ultra-dilution form. Now, let's just talk about the idea of similar suffering or homeopathy, like cures like, and give an example. One homeopathic remedy that we homeopaths use often is called arsenic amalgam. So if a person took arsenic amalgam is derived from the substance arsenic. So if a person had arsenic poisoning, they would develop burning pains, they would be restless, they would have high anxiety, they would have diarrhea, they would have vomiting, they would have weakness, right? They would become cold except for their head, which would desire open air, and that would feel hot. They'd be thirsty for small sips of water. They would desire company and feel worse at midnight. That's the symptoms of arsenic poisoning. Now, if someone takes arsenic amalgam in homeopathic preparation, it would then cure those similar symptoms. Okay. You can also think of this as coffee, right? There's a remedy called coffea, which is derived from coffee. And if your nervous system is really hypervigilant, you feel really jittery, and you also feel really excited, and you can't fall asleep at night, right? And you're just kind of like, your nervous system is just kind of jacked up from the coffee. You could take coffea and it would reverse that, right? So or there's another example is apis, which is derived from bee venom, which is like, think about it, when you get stung by a bee, what happens? Your finger, say it was on your finger, it gets swollen, it would get red, it would get hot, it would sting, it would burn. It'd be better with cold applications, right? So if you have a hive that is, or some sort of swelling that has those same symptoms, given apis, it would cure said symptoms. Okay. Homeopathic substances are derived from natural sources in our environment, including minerals, plants, and animals. So mineral remedies is like arsenic amalgam, it's just arsenic. There's mercury, there's sulfur, there's zinc, there's calcaria carbonica, which is calcium. There's magnesia phosphorica, which is magnesium and phosphorus. There's all kinds of mineral remedies. There's plant remedies, like pulsatilla is a flower, and aconite, and not arsenicum, arnica, I couldn't think of it, sorry. Haciamo, stramonium, these are all plants. Nux vomica, these are all plants. And then there's animal substances like apis is the bee venom, and lachesis is made from snake venom. And then there's like lacaninum, which is actually made from dog's milk, and sepia, which is made from the ink of the cuttlefish, right? So it's nature's medicine kit. Every remedy comes from nature. And homeopathy is still integrated into national healthcare systems in many countries, including Germany, India, Brazil, Mexico, Pakistan, and the UK. So it's integrated all over the world, and it used to be super integrated here in the United States, but then it was, you're going to learn about why you don't know about it in a minute. But yeah, it's used by the elites typically, like the royal family or people who have wealth and money actually utilize homeopathy often. It's been proven to be effective, but its threat to allopathic medicine and big pharmaceutical companies is why it's not as widely practiced today, unfortunately. So many of the pharmaceuticals actually use the same substances as homeopathy, but they are given in what we call the crude form. They're not giving it in an ultra diluted form, right? So instead of giving them in the energetic form, homeopathy is given in an energetic form. It is quantum energetic medicine. But because it's it acts very differently in the body given that it's energy medicine. But because pharmaceuticals use the crude form, this is why they have toxic side effects, right? Because there's going to be an effect from that medicine because it's not given into the energetic form. Whereas homeopathy, due to its preparation method, removes all toxicity and leaves only the healing power of said substance. Okay. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about why you don't know about homeopathy because it's intended to be that way. So this is one of my big missions is to share homeopathy with the world and explain to people about it more. But if you don't know about the Rockefeller takeover, John G. Rockefeller became a billionaire in the turn of the 20th century, controlled 90% of all, refineries in the U.S. And, scientists also discovered at this time that you could make petrochemicals, right, to create all kinds of chemical forms of oil. And they also discovered that you could use various vitamins and pharmaceutical drugs could be made from oil also. So it was like, oh, he wanted to capitalize on this, right? So he saw a big opportunity to monopolize the oil company, the chemical and medical industries at the same time. And petrochemicals could be patented and sold for a high profit, whereas homeopathics are derived from nature. We cannot patent these things. Okay. There was one problem with Rockefeller's plan for the U.S. medical industry. Things like natural herbal medicines were very popular in this time. So think things like homeopathy, chiropractic, acupuncture, herbalism, naturopathy. These were all very prominent and popular back then. And almost all like of half of the doctors and medical colleges in the US are practicing more holistic medicines, including homeopathy. So Rockefeller had to come up with a way to get rid of his biggest competition. Him and Andrew Carnegie devised a scheme. From the Carnegie Foundation, they sent out a man named Abraham Flexner to travel around the country and report the status of medical colleges and hospitals around the country. And their status of whether they were good or not was based off of hygiene and equipment they used, not really outcomes of whether they healed people or not. And basically, this led to the Flexner Report, which gave birth to modern medicine as we know it. And based on this report, more than half of all medical colleges were soon closed. Homeopathy and natural medicines were mocked, demonized, and doctors were even jailed to use them. They were seen as quacks now. This was, not real science, not real medicine, even though it's completely 1,000,000% scientific. So to help with this transition and change the minds of the doctors and scientists, Rockefeller gave more than 100 million to colleagues and hospitals. So money talks, right? And in a short time, medical colleges were all streamlined and the students were learning the same thing. Medicine was all about patentized, pharmaceuticals. Over 100 years later, our doctors are basically know nothing about the benefits of nutrition, herbs, holistic practices, naturopathy, homeopathy, acupuncture, all these things. And we have a society that kind of is enslaved to this, unfortunately, to this corporation because we don't even know that these other modalities existed. I know I didn't 5 years ago. So we're kind of thinking that we only have one option, but we have many options actually. And America has sick care, unfortunately, has not focused on a cure, but only symptom management. How can we manage the pain? How can we manage your diabetes? How can we manage your heart disease? How can we manage these things, these conditions, right? But that only repeat customers, right? And there's no cure for chronic disease or illness. So the man who created this oil continued to use a superior medicine actually on himself, homeopathy, him and his family. Um, were making a huge profit in the world, but for him and his family, he chose homeopathy. Rockefeller actually had 3 personal homeopaths himself for him and his family. So it's time the world knows the truth and starts to make a shift towards a medicine that has the power to cure, strengthen, instead of suppress and weaken. And that's the difference between allopathic and homeopathic. We are going to support, we are going to strengthen, we are going to possibly give a cure, and we are not suppressing and we do not weaken. I just wanted to share some pictures for you of like homeopathic hospitals, and there's a Hanuman ambulance there, and just basically how it used to be. There's a hospital there in Pittsburgh you can see. There's an ambulance that says Hanuman Hospital on it. That was the ambulance for Hanuman Hospital. There was nurses preparing for exams because they learned homeopathics here in Bristol, Connecticut. The nurses and patients are sitting outside. Like, they understood natural and holistic modalities as well, right? So I just want to show you how it used to be pretty popular here, and now you've never heard of it. So now I want to talk about how homeopathy is the ultimate quantum medicine or energetic medicine, because it really is a form of energy medicine. It's working on the vital force, it's working on the biofields, it's working on the energetic level of the body, this very esoteric level of the body. It is not, it's not linear medicine. It is very much more esoteric. So, it works on the quantum level by using an energetic imprint of a substance from nature to promote self-healing in an organism. That's basically what it is. Homeopathic remedies are an energetic imprint of a substance from nature that promotes self-healing in an organism when it resonates with the same vibrational frequency of your disease or your symptomology. Homeopaths, or I don't do this, actually, machines do this now, but to make a homeopathic remedy, we go through a process of dilution and succussion, which involves diluting a substance in water and then vigorously shaking it. Succussion is vigorously shaking it, and this is waking up the energy within the remedy, or in the substance, I should say. And we repeat this process until a desired potency is achieved. The potency is like the strength of the medicine. There is lots of nuance with potency and lots of different potencies. But just as an example, you could take a look at this picture. We take a substance from nature and we make a mother tincture, say an alcohol, right? We take 1 drop. This was Hanuman's gift because he wanted to dilute the crude substances down so they didn't have side effects, so they didn't have, intense issues from taking remedies. So we take 1 drop of that mother tincture and we put it into 99 drops of water, and that would be what's called a 1C. Now, then that's vigorously shaken, and then we take that 1 drop of that 1C and we take it and put it into 99 drops, and that would be a 2C. And this is vigorously shaken again. And this is done over and over and over again until the desired potency is resulted. So a lot of times in homeopathy, if you go to the store, you'll see 30C. That's been diluted and succussed 30 times. A lot of times in my practice, I use 200C. I use 1M, right? I use higher potencies of these remedies. And the more dilute the remedy is, the more potent and powerful it is, and the more it works on the energetic field, the energetic level, and the more it works on the mental, emotional, spiritual, and ancestral traumas and ancestral baggage or energetic imprints that we have. So it is pretty impressive. In my practice, I just want to well, let's just stop for a second. This process of diluting and succussion creates an energetic imprint in the water, so there is no crude form of the substance left if you use a 12C and above. C is dilution of 1 to 100. There's also M's, which is dilution of 1 to 1,000 drops of water, and LMs, which is dilution 1 to 15,000, and X's, which is diluted 1 to 10 drops. So there's different levels of potencies in homeopathy. You don't really need to know that, but when most people think about homeopathy or use homeopathy, they usually use the C potencies, which is 1 times 99 or 1 to 100. Okay, and diluted as many times. As long as you use a 12C and above, there is no crude form of that. There is no molecular structure of, say, arnica, which is a very common remedy that people know, right? There is no trace of arnica left. It's just an energetic imprint of arnica. So there's no crude substance. And this is why it's so poo-pooed. This is why it's so, people say it's witchcraft, it's nothing, it's placebo, is because they don't understand energy and how water is capable of holding energy and information. Water is a conduit. It's conductive. It holds memory, frequency, energy, information. It is consciousness. So the water is taking on that, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But if you understand the work of, say, Veda Austin, you can look up her work. I'm going to explain some of it, or Dr. Emoto, right? We know that water can hold energy, frequency, and vibration, and the water takes on the energy of a substance, which leaves. The amazing part here now is because the water is taking on that energy, it leaves only the healing power, and the toxicity of the side effects of that modality, of that substance, is removed. And therefore there is no negative side effects. So the water possesses like a form of intelligence, okay, capable of interaction and response. Homeopathy resonates with the body's energy field, gently encouraging the vital force, which we can think of as chi, as the biofield, as the life force, as some people say ki, and it stimulates this vital force, or these biofields, or the energy of our body, the subatomic particles of our body, to restore balance. Okay. And like I said before, the more a remedy is diluted, the more potent and powerful, the more it addresses the mental and emotional and the spiritual. And it's working on deeper and deeper layers of healing, such as inherited genetic predispositions that have been triggered due to environmental factors. So to get a disease, we have to have a genetic predisposition. That doesn't mean genetics are our destiny. They are triggered from environmental triggers, but it is like our energetic blueprint, and homeopathy can actually, shift that and remove that or cure that. So the more diluted, the more powerful, because the frequency is stronger. The frequency and the vibration is stronger. And it's kind of like taking a microdose that stimulates the body to self-heal. So the substance is not doing the work. Your body is doing the work. The remedy is just the catalyst that nudges the body to heal. And each time you take homeopathy, as long as it resonates, right, it matches, that's why we ask a lot of questions, you will level up your health, and it will never suppress your healing. It only supports your healing. It doesn't suppress symptoms. It doesn't stop symptoms. It actually will help you move through it faster and easier, and in a less susceptible way in the future. So the most important thing is needing the right remedy, and only really a professional can help you with that process. That's why we need a professional homeopath to find the right remedy for you and your situation. You also need the right potency, which is also the job of the homeopath, because there is no one remedy for any situation. It's very individualized medicine. Okay, and we're going to talk more about that. I believe that the vibration of the remedy matches with the vibration of your cells, and it's imprinted on an exclusion zone water. I have a webinar called Cellular Hydration if you want to learn more about exclusion zone water. And that information is then quantumly communicated, because our exclusion zone water is kind of like our quantum communication superhighway. So it's communicated throughout the body. And as we know, we are kind of walking antennas that pick up on energy and information. And if that energy resonates, it creates a ripple effect throughout the body. And this is a quote from one of the research articles that I have linked for you in the end. And it says, once the remedy reaches this energetic state, it can then be influenced by subatomic particles that are connecting our material structures with the field of the force. So I thought that was pretty powerful. That's written by one of the greats, George Vatukis. This is just a recap of what I said. Homeopathic medicine uses remedies, like the medicine in homeopathy is called a remedy, right? It's made from animals, plants, minerals. It's actually even could be made from diseased tissue. Those are very interesting. We're not going to really go into that. And the remedies are made through a process called potentization, which is this, dilution and succussion of a crude substance. So it's diluting it down and vigorously shaking it to wake up the energy, right? And then that crude substance is dissolved or ground into water. It could be sometimes into milk or sugar, as sometimes too. And this is the dilution and succussion process, right? And this kind of goes into, I'm just going to change the view. We'll go to slideshow for a second, just so I could see a little bigger. But it says the initial dilution is 1 substance to 10 parts of water or alcohol. That's a 1x. That's an X potency. Or there can be a 1 to 100, which is a C potency, which would be 1C. There can also be 1,000 parts to 1, which is a 1M. So anyway, that's diluted and succussed or pounded or shaken vigorously, and then a drop of the solution again and again and again until the desired potency is achieved. And then, of course, we have the potency is the strength of the remedy, and the more time the remedy is diluted and succussed, the more stronger and potent it is. So a 200C is going to be much stronger than a 30C because it's more diluted, it's more succussed, it holds a stronger vibrational, energetic information. Potentized homeopathic remedy provides the body with a microdose, so it works by using substances found in nature that could cause harm in large doses. Like if you took large doses of arsenic, you would be sick. But after diluting them and introducing a microdose into the body, it can stimulate the body's natural healing process to overcome said symptoms. Homeopathic remedies only work if you're given the right one, right? So it's essential to meet with a homeopath so you can know the right one. I don't love how this is like that. I'm going to go back to here. So water researchers proof of ultra dilution. So there's a couple of different researchers, who, sorry, one second. There's a couple of different researchers who have talked about water researching and proof of ultra dilutions and its effects. So one is Jacques Bevanisti, and his work demonstrated that water could retain memory of substances once dissolved in it. So when diluted beyond a point of any molecular presence, the water molecules could form structure, right? We think of structured water and arrangements that are biologically active and influencing a cellular response, even when no original molecules are present. So he was big on ultra dilutions having an effect. Dr. Emoto, also a pioneer in the study of water, demonstrated that water is shaped by the environment through thoughts and emotions. He was a Japanese scientist who revolutionized the idea that our intentions impact the physical realm, and he's one of the most important water researchers the world has known. He studied the scientific evidence of how the molecular structure in water transforms when it's exposed to human words, thoughts, sounds, and intentions, and that will be the same given a, substance, right? And then there's Veda Austin, who, her crystallography method proves that water retains the energy and information imprinted from homeopathic remedies. The water stores the energy and information as an energetic imprint and then can be used to transform that energy into information throughout the exclusion zone network inside the body. So this is pictures of Veda Austin's crystallography. So this is her taking a substance and diluting these remedies into water and then showing an image that the water shows. The water shows this image because it is showing that it's retaining that energy and information. So this is CBD, which is not actually, well, there is homeopathic cannabis actually. I'm not sure if that was just natural CBD or homeopathic cannabis, but this is arnica. This is they're retaining the information of the arnica flower. This is apis. Like you can actually see, it looks like a honeybee. It is so cool. This looks like the arnica plant. This looks like the honeybee. This is nux vomica, which is a homeopathic remedy, and it is the poison nut. So you can actually see it looks like a nut. Excuse me. This is a tissue salt. So these are, excuse me, those are minerals. Okay, I'm just going to take a sip. I have a webinar on tissue salts or cell salts, which is made by Dr. Schussler. And he found that there are these combinations of mineral remedies that the body is made up of. And when deficient in one of these minerals, said person will exude said symptoms. And then he delivered these minerals through homeopathic preparation. He found that to be the most effective. A cell salt will have some of the crude form and some of the energetic form. So it's both crude and energetic because it's a 6C typically, which is good because it's just a mineral, right? You're just replenishing minerals in the crude form, but you're also stimulating it in an energetic form, which teaches the body then thus how to use minerals better, actually. This happens to be a magnesia phosphorica, or magphos is a cell salt. It also can be made in homeopathic preparation. A cell salt is just a different kind of potency, but it can be made in purely homeopathic preparation as well. Calcarea carbonica, which is calcium, that's actually made from the oyster shell, and this is a Bach flower, which is a flower remedy. This is ocelinum, which is a common remedy people know. Camellia, which is made from the chamomile flower, chamomile. Aluminum cepa, which is made from the red onion. Ignatia, which is a flower. Milk thistle, belladonna, which is also made from a plant. It's called a poison, a deadly nightshade, they'll call it. They also say nux vomica is a deadly nightshade. This is made from zinc. So this is, you can see the structure that zinc would make, and pine bark. So you can see here that this is the proof in the pudding that these remedies are retaining that information from said substance that they were, diluted from. So now I want to talk a little bit about the mechanism of action, and this process, due to the process of how homeopathy is prepared, the mechanism of action is very different from pharmaceuticals, herbs, and even supplements. So homeopathy acts very differently on the body. It is much deeper, it's much longer lasting effects because it stimulates your own innate healing capabilities and works on the energetic realm. Okay, so it stimulates your body to heal, and it works on the energy of the body. So for example, if you take chamomile tea, you drink it in an herbal or a tincture or a supplemental form, the impact of that modality lasts a few hours or a day or so, and you will need to keep taking it day after day after day. And it will not really act deeply on the body, and the person will continue possibly to need more and more of this substance as their body kind of gets used to it. And they have to increase the dose, and if they stop taking it, the symptoms return. Frequent dosing of a substance can lead to imbalances, sometimes toxicity. This is impossible with homeopathy as it's in an energetic form, so it cannot create toxicity. So it can only bring balance and harmony to the system. Another example would be supplementing with minerals. A lot of times can cause further imbalances, especially when taking on long term or too frequently, right? But if you take too much zinc, you're going to displace copper. If you take too much magnesium, you're going to displace calcium, right? They interact with each other. When you take homeopathic calcarea carbonica or calcium, you are not going to displace magnesium. You're going to only bring balance and harmony and restore the energetic field of said minerals and the way that they work in your body. Now, say you go to a classical homeopath and the indicated remedy is camellia, a lot of times indicated in children. They good for colic, good for teething, good for, asthma in children, good for children who are really irritable and hot and thirsty, and they say they want whatever they want. They ask for something and then you give it to them and then they throw it back at you. They're really sensitive to pain. They are really, really irritable and grouchy and hard to be around. You give them chamomile and then they're not like that anymore. But anyway, this will be taken one time, likely, not always. Sometimes, depending on the person's level of health, depending on the pharmaceuticals that they're possibly using, sometimes homeopathics have to be used more frequently. Like they have to be given more frequently depending on the situation. But in a person who's in a decent level of health and not on pharmaceuticals, it can be taken one time, one dose, and will act for months to years as long as it's not antidoted. And which each passing month, the remedy will act more and more deeply on the physical, mental, and emotional level, peeling back layers of suppression on the physical and emotional plane. Chamomile is also way worse from anger in the emotional plane. You're getting a little knowledge of chamomile. They have symptomology from being angry. So it will work on that. Homeopathy also works on the physical, mental, and emotional and spiritual level. So yeah, it is a lot of times it's one dose, and I have cured anxiety in people. One dose of the remedy and panic attacks and chronic anxiety completely resolved, right? Never needed it again. It's not like you have to take an anti-anxiety med all the time. No, it just changes the field, it changes the information, it changes the tune, it changes the vibration, and you heal. The magic in the medicine is that they're diluted down to such a degree, again, that only the energy of the substance remains. It is a form of quantum energy medicine that works on strengthening a person's entire vital force, and it works on the subatomic particles of a body. Now, homeopathy treats the entire person and the totality of symptoms. So it's not just treating the physical, it's not just treating the mental, emotional, the spiritual, it's treating all of you. So totality of your symptomology. And to me, it's never just physical. It's all connected. We are an open system, right? All of our organs, our cells are communicating. Everything's communicating. We're communicating with the biofields. We're communicating with our environment. We're communicating with the people in our environment. We're communicating with the microbes in our environment. We're communicating with the energy of the environment. Like, we're communicating. That's true. Our mitochondria are actually environmental sensors. And that's true within your body. It is an open system where everything is communicating. So when we have chronic symptoms, physical symptoms, the mental and emotional sphere are playing a huge role in these symptoms. So if you only look at the physical symptoms, you will never really get to real healing. And that's why we need a modality like homeopathy to heal, that can get to all the layers, right? All the layers of you. And you could control your symptoms, your physical symptoms. You can suppress your physical symptoms, but you will not heal. And we need to go deeper than just the physical. And when we control or we suppress these physical symptoms, it actually causes deeper pathology in the body. I'm not sure if I have a slide on that, but I'll try to go back to that. But yes, I want to remind you that it's all connected. The anxiety and the pain, connected. Your depression and your gut issues, connected. Your bloody noses, your fear and your panic, connected. That's a true story in my own home. My son had bloody noses, lots of fear, lots of panic. That's a different son of mine. And yeah, all gone. Your grief and your spasms, connected. Your irritability and your constipation, right? It's like one of these remedies is really irritable and they have chronic ineffectual urging for stool. Like and urine, and they want to go, but they can't let it out. But they're like, it's coming out in the irritability, right? And sometimes constipation can be another way constipation can go is it's like your body's not able to express, right? It's like what it can't let go. There's grief that it can't let go of. It can't let go of something it's not able to express. I see that connection a lot. The diarrhea and anxiety connection, I see that one a lot as well. The jealousy and the high blood pressure, connected. The suppressed anger and the UTI, connected. The guilt and the nausea, connected. Your night terror, you're in your hyper reactivity or hyperactivity, connected, right? Homeopathy runs deeper. It touches the vital force, and like a ripple effect, it affects all your spheres, right? We have to connect that all together. Homeopathy connects those dots. And we give one remedy at a time to treat the totality of the symptoms because, again, your anxiety, depression, insomnia, eczema, food sensitivities, constipation, hormones, PMS, abdominal pain. We can treat all of those with one remedy, really, honestly. And sometimes there's layers, and sometimes we need more remedy, like we need like a sequence of the correct remedies to get to the healing that we need. And most of us, unfortunately, because of all the suppressive medicines we take and all the trauma and shock and all the ancestral baggage that we come with, we have a lot of layers. So it's not just one remedy that's going to fix everything. But over time, we're just peeling back the layers of the onion and peeling back and peeling back and peeling back, right? Again, this is just reminding you that everything is connected. So when you come for your anxiety, your digestion improves. When you come for your eczema, your depression disappears. Or when you come from constipation, all of a sudden you're sleeping soundly. One remedy for the totality of symptoms. So when you see a classical homeopath, you don't leave with a remedy for each symptom. It's not functional medicine where you take a supplement for every symptom. Why? Because we see this as one deeper imbalance in the physical body, right? Beyond the physical body, I should say, excuse me. And the physical body is the messenger, and even our fears, phobias, these are all messengers. I strongly take those symptoms into consideration. And it connects the dots through your symptoms. Um, and the remedy will change after the first healing response. So you might take a remedy, couple months later, 4, 5, 6 months later, you've got a whole new set of symptoms, possibly ones that you've suppressed in the past, right? That is a great direction of cure. We are going to go over that. And that will be, what's now expressing. Okay. And then we get to the next layer, right? Which is then the focus of that. So I just want to remind you too that homeopathy is individualized medicine. I get this question all the time. What remedy should I take for my motion sickness or my headache or my stomach ache or my diarrhea or my ear infection or my flu? Truthfully, homeopathy is just not that simple. There isn't a headache remedy because homeopathy treats you, not the condition. And first of all, there are like 500 remedies that I could use for headache, but I have to get to individually what your headache is about. Like, what's the trigger for your headache, the modalities, what makes it better, what makes it worse, all of these things. So homeopathy treats the individual based on their unique mental, emotional symptoms and triggers, I should add to this, in the present moment using like cures like. So, like I said, there's over 500 remedies for headache. A homeopath needs to narrow this down with an in-depth consultation by focusing on your symptomology. So we homeopaths need to know a lot about you. We ask a ton of questions, right? And this is why you can't just Google search homeopathic remedies for headache and get the right one, or like look at the vial in Whole Foods and say, oh, this one says headache and take it, because that's a good remedy for headaches if it fits your picture. Remember, it has to resonate with you and why you're dealing with headaches or migraines. Um, so they're going to ask you a lot of questions like, what time does your headache begin? Is it on the left? Is it on the right? Where is the headache? Is it in the front? Is it on the side? Is it left-sided? Is it right-sided? Is it in the back? What triggers the headache? Is it triggered by different weather? Is it triggered by the sun? Are you thirsty or thirstless? How's your appetite? Are you hungry during these headaches? Like, you have a ravenous hunger during this headache? Do you crave certain foods? Does the headache come on around your cycle? What makes it feel better? It feels better when I lay down in a quiet, dark room, or it feels better when I go take a walk. It feels better, after I take a nap. What makes it worse? Oh, it's worse when it's cold and damp. It's worse when my hair is wet. And that's actually a remedy for that. Like, all these things matter. What kind of fears are going on in your life? Like, what are your fears? Do you need to be with company? Do you feel anxious when you have a headache, or do you want to be alone and by yourself? All these things matter. And these questions are leading the homeopath to the right remedy for you. Okay. Because it's individualized medicine. It's not, oh, you have a UTI, just take this generic medicine. No, no, no. Are you having urgency? Like, what is that urgency like? You have to pee all the time, but you can only get let out a little bit. Is there blood in the urine? Does it burn at the beginning? Does it burn at the end? Does it burn midstream? Does it feel like burning, stinging, stitching? Um, are you are you screaming out in pain? Is this, like, all these things matter. What is your desire on the sexual sphere? Is it high or low? All of these things matter. Do you have spasms? Are you cramping? I mean, there's so many questions that a homeopath would ask before just giving a remedy for a UTI. Like, did this come out after, you had some suppressed anger? Are you feeling abandoned? Are you feeling lonely? I mean, these things, are you feeling indifferent and apathetic? Are you needing a lot of space from your family? All of these things are different remedies, right? So it really matters to ask the questions. The question asking is the most important part of the homeopathic intake and finding the right remedy for you. Um, Remember, because homeopathic remedies only work or will support your condition if it matches your unique symptoms. It's highly individualized, like cures like. The frequency needs to vibrate at the same frequency. It needs to resonate. It needs to match. So one person might need one remedy for headaches or UTIs or whatever it is, and one person's going to need a totally different one. Okay. And this is because we are unique individuals, and this is why allopathic medicine fails, because it only suppresses the immune system, and everyone gets the same medicine for the same condition, even though they experience that condition differently, and the triggers for that condition are different. There is no individualized care in allopathic medicine, right? So who can use homeopathy and why you should choose homeopathy? Well, first of all, homeopathy is an amazing choice for your family. It is safe in all stages of life, including babies, pregnancy, elderly. There's no contraindications. It is completely safe because it is energy medicine. It could never do any harm to the body, okay? It's only going to work on the energetic plane. Each time you use the correct indicated homeopathic remedy, your immune system will become stronger. This is because it stimulates your body to do the healing work. Homeopathic medicines are extremely gentle and safe. They have no negative side effects. They only support the body's innate healing process. They only stimulate or nudge your body to heal. Once you build a homeopathy kit, and learn how, when, and why to use remedies, you can have remedies in your home, and you can use them need be. Most importantly is knowing, what remedy you need, and then having the remedy in your home is really important. So like having this information and then having, the remedy in your home to use. I have a free homeopathic at home kit guide, which tells you like, the top like 30 remedies that are most commonly used and what they're typically indicated for. And you can use these in acute care. So I would definitely recommend having that, and then buying these remedies and having them in your home and learning how to use them and kind of experiment with them. Homeopathic remedies are actually very affordable and accessible to all. A remedy can cost you like $20, honestly. They're really cheap, and they're very affordable medicine. And they're always made from natural substances or nature, like I mentioned before. They're literally nature's medicine kit, and they have no added like junk or fillers. They're all natural. They are tested on the scientific studies that we do for homeopathic remedies are called provings, and they're actually tested on humans and not animals. Like real people will prove the remedy. So they will take the remedy, and if you continually take a remedy over and over and over again, you can have what's called a proving of that substance, and then they know what that substance can cause, right? So in books, we have what are called material medicas. I'll take out one of my books, right? And I open up to say mag carb, right? Magnesia carbonica. And it tells me all of the symptoms that would ensue or that mag carb would cause, or magnesia carbonica would cause. Like I have all these symptoms, and then I know what it can cure. So what it causes is what it can cure. Okay. And homeopathics are only effective, again, if you get the right remedy for you in your given situation. So this often takes a professional, especially in chronic conditions. In acutes, if you have knowledge of homeopathy, you can use it to support your health. But in chronic conditions, you really need to seek professional care. Okay, this is my little like slide about why to choose homeopathics over allopathic medicine. I just want to start out by saying here, like, it's not like there's never a time and a place for allopathy. There are, they're really great at emergency care. And we need to play to the strengths. Like if I break my arm, I'm going to go see emergency care, allopathic medicine to get that fixed. My husband broke his clavicle. Yeah, we took him to the emergency room and we fixed that. And then we used remedies like arnica and Bellie's Pernice and Calc-Phos and Symphytum to support the healing phase one at a time. We supported his healing phase because and then he less needed pain medication. He really barely needed pain medication and all these things. And it supported his healing process, right? So there is in every case always shades of gray. This is not black and white thinking. This is, can we use homeopathy and not need to rely on allopathy? Can we use homeopathy so we need to rely on allopathy less? Right? That would be great. Because I never want people to feel guilty about having to use allopathy when it's valid, because sometimes it is, because some things can be too intense or, things like that. Like it's necessary sometimes, especially in emergency care. or intense situations that we are not able to rectify with homeopathy, or we can't find the right remedy and it's not resonating. Like sometimes we need to call on other things, right? And we can always reverse the damage done. Um, as we are self-healing machines when given the right inputs to heal. So homeopathy can be used alongside allopathy as well. So it's not like one or the other. We can use both at the same time. Looks like I spelled allopathy wrong. So anyway, just this is my allopathy versus homeopathy like little graphic I made. So homeopathy is individualized care. It's safe, effective, and more gentle for sure, way more gentle because it's just stimulating your body to heal in the direction that it's ready to go. It reverses genetic predispositions, which we're going to talk about in a minute. It improves your level of health. So your body gets an upgrade and it improves your immune system. It's like taking your immune system to the gym. It's like every time you use homeopathy, your immune system actually gets stronger. Your vital force gets stronger. Your energetic field gets stronger. It's affordable with long-lasting results, and it treats the totality of symptoms, the physical, mental, emotional, and I did spiritual, and it reverses the damage done by allopathic medicine. Allopathy is, suppressing the immune system. You're suppressing the symptoms, you're stopping the symptoms. It moves pathology deeper into the body. So when we suppress symptoms, it actually pushes the pathology deeper. And what do I mean by that? So when we suppress skin eruptions, right? They're very surface level. That's the skin is the largest detox organ, our body's outlet. So we suppress things on the skin. That's the pathology coming out. You're pushing it back deep in. So things like suppressed eczema lead to asthma or epilepsy, or suppressed skin eruptions, can lead to even autism, I've seen. Suppressed UTIs can lead to depression. We keep suppressing strep throat. We can get a thyroid disorder, right? It's deeper pathology. Suppressed joint pain can lead to heart disease. It lowers the level of health. It has toxic and harmful ingredients. Every time you take allopathic medicine, you become weaker. Destroys your gut microbiome. We all know that. Destroys your mitochondria health, turns on genetics predisposition to diseases. It's one of the triggers that can turn on these, these predispositions that kind of been dormant in us. It's one of the environmental triggers. It's unable to offer a cure. Typically, it's generic care, same medicine, based on your disease diagnosis, and has negative side effects. And it is short-term quick fixes. Like it's just a short-term Band-Aid approach, and it has side effects. So let's talk about a little bit about what causes disease. In order for you to have a disease, a chronic disease, you have to have a genetic predisposition to said disease. And it might manifest differently than it did in your ancestors, but you must have a genetic predisposition. Otherwise, it wouldn't occur. It's like our energetic blueprint that we're born with. We have susceptibilities, we have weaknesses. Everybody has them. That doesn't mean genetics are your destiny. It doesn't mean that you should, remove your breasts if you have the BRCA gene. It just means that these things are what can ensue in you, and we need to have awareness around this. And it doesn't mean you need genetic testing. You can just look at your ancestrally lineage and what they've experienced, and you are then thus going to have the same situations. Like in my family lineage, hormone imbalance, thyroid disorders, blood sugar imbalances. This is really prevalent. Obesity, really, really prevalent, right? It's no surprise that these are things that I've had to work on, and I have to maintain a certain level of my health to keep those things at bay. So we all have these genetic predispositions that become activated by certain triggers, okay? And I used to think when I got into the circadian world, I'm like, oh, the circadian mismatch is the trigger. And I do think that partly it is, excuse me, but I think the circadian mismatch, like indoor lifestyle, lack of sunlight, exposure to artificial light at night, non-native EMFs, dysregulated circadian rhythms, eating out of season, toxins like fluoride and heavy metals and things like that. poor food quality, poor meal timing, poor sleep, lack of movement. These all fuel disease. I would not call them root causes of disease. I think they fuel it. They add fuel to the fire of chronic disease. What I see more likely as triggering real root causes of chronic disease is suppression. Suppression on two layers, either on the physical body or the mental emotional body. So suppression on the physical body is like your jabs, your antibiotics, your antihistamines, your non-steroid, anti-inflammatories, your steroids, your prescription creams, your removal of an organ. We just think it's okay to just remove our gallbladder, and then we wonder why we have chronic constipation ever since then. Um, or like I was told to remove my bladder, like that was okay. Like I don't need that, or remove the thyroid because we don't need it. Like, no, we need these things. And there's still an energetic field of the said organs once removed. I know people who removed their bladder and then still had bladder pain, like phantom bladder pain, because it's not the bladder's fault. It's not the thyroid's fault. It's not the gallbladder's fault. It's an overall energetic imbalance within you. Radiation, chemotherapy, and suppressed skin eruptions. That is the suppression on the physical layer, which can activate genetic predispositions within us, right? And that is a big part of my story. Jabs, antibiotics, steroids, huge in suppressing my system, suppressing my immune system, knocking it down, not allowing my immune system to express and remove what's not serving it. When the immune system is strong and vital, it will remove what it does not need. But when we keep suppressing it, we're not allowing that immune system to do its job. And then there's the suppression on the mental emotional level, and this can be suppressed emotions like anger, sadness. If whatever you are repressing, your body will find an outlet. So if we're suppressing our anger, our wants, our needs, our grief, this is going to manifest as physical symptomology. Divorces, big griefs, losing a job, moving, physical injuries, surgeries, disappointing relationships that you're living in, big life changes, abuse, mental, emotional, physical, or sexual, major car accidents. Major accidents doesn't be a car, it could be a fall, it could be you fell through ice, it could be you were in a car accident, like you slipped and you fell, any kind of major accident. You slipped down and fell down the stairs. I see that a lot also. And I also see like not living your passion and purpose, working in like a dead end job, that you hate every day. These all fuel disease. Like you're in a really poor relationship, disappointing love. You're just not with the person who's lighting you up. All of these things, loneliness. I see abandonment issues, loneliness, people pleasing. I could add more to this. People pleasing for sure. Having zero boundaries also. Yes, these are real root causes of disease. Not mold, not parasites, not Lyme, not chronic infections, not food sensitivities, not leaky gut. Those are results of deeper imbalances, not hormonal imbalance. Those are results of deeper imbalances in the body, right? And things that are triggering it are these things. And I focus more on the mental emotional when I work with people, because that always is playing a huge role. Okay, so if you don't address the real root causes, whatever you attempt to remove will just keep coming back, okay? So have you ever done a detox and tried to remove a pathogen and then it comes back a few months later? Have you ever, cut out, the C word and it just comes back somewhere else later, a few months later? Have you ever taken a medicine to remove a pathogen only to have some deeper, issues resurface after that suppression? I'm sure, yes, a lot of you can relate to this. So this is because the real root cause is not being addressed. So what are real root causes? Like I said, shock, trauma, suppressed emotions, suppression of your symptoms on the physical layer. You've got this gnarly strep throat and you just suppress it, again and again and again. And then you get, a thyroid disorder years down the line and you're like, why'd that happen? That's why. Chronic stress and worry, lack of boundaries, people pleasing. Also workaholics and perfectionism is another one that can cause it. What is not real causes: pathogens, mold, viruses, chronic infections, parasites, hormone imbalances, leaky gut, food intolerance. Those are not real root causes of disease. Not even at all, not even close. Not your Epstein-Barr virus, none of that. Homeopathy addresses real root causes. It has the power to reverse negative effects of suppressive therapies. It can help your body release stuck emotions, stuck trauma. It releases that. You're going to release what is no longer serving you. It can help you learn to put up boundaries, can help you slow down, can help improve your stress resilience. Homeopathy does, how does homeopathy do this? And find your root cause? Well, it does this by listening to you, by your unique symptoms you are expressing on the physical, mental, and emotional level. The symptoms lead us to the right sequence. Typically, it's a sequence of remedies to support the healing your root causes. It's never just one root cause, by the way, too. It is root causes. When you're dealing with chronic disease, causes, 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 causes. For me, in my root causes, I would say injuries, right? Jabs, antibiotics, abandonment feeling, and workaholic, perfectionism, a lack of boundaries is part of mine, and suppression of emotions and suppression of my physical symptoms. So look at all those root causes that I've had right there. That's a lot, for sure. And then homeopathy, it's like it's like peeling back an onion, one layer at a time, one remedy at a time, one root cause at a time. Remove one root cause, the next root cause will show up, right? Or the symptomology will express to let me know to go to the next root cause. Homeopathy nudges your vital force in the direction you are ready to go. So homeopathy has the power to make your vital force stronger. It catalyzes your body to self-heal and removes what is no longer serving it. And you're able to express what's been suppressed. So you're expressing, we don't realize that the diarrhea, the mucus, the discharges, the stuff we cough up, the skin eruptions, the crying, the grief, the yelling sometimes in some cases, this expression is helping your body remove what is no longer serving you. Okay? We cannot have these things be stagnant and stuck within us. And then, so what happens a lot of times when you take homeopathic remedies is we're going to have what we call an aggravation of symptoms. And this is a really good sign. So when you see a homeopath and the correct indicated remedy is given for a chronic condition, it is likely you will experience an aggravation of your chronic symptoms. This is not a bad sign. In fact, it is a great sign and one we look for. And without aggravation, there is no cure because the aggravation is your body getting stronger so it can elicit the symptoms that it needs to actually heal. So instead of you having these like chronic minor symptoms, the body's going to up level and it's going to be stronger and you're going to have symptoms that are stronger and maybe a little bit more discomforting, like a healing crisis, but that will, on the other side, will be an amelioration of symptoms or an improved level of health. So when you get an aggravation, it's a sign that your immune system is leveling up and your body is feeling more safe, more able to respond, and moving out of a suppressed state. The symptoms are the healing. So without symptoms, we cannot heal. So the reason why you're stuck with chronic symptoms is because your immune system is just not strong enough to get over the symptoms, or your body is stuck in the cell danger response. And the body, homeopathy also works on the autonomic nervous system, your vital force, right? So your body is stuck in this cell danger response, thinks everything is a threat, right? The body can, the homeopathic remedy, given the right one, can shift that, and the body all of a sudden feels safe enough to heal and to remove what's not serving it. So again, those symptoms can remain chronic. So they're kind of low grade annoying, right? This is often due to suppression, both on the physical and emotional level. So when we get your immune system stronger, or you're out of the cell danger response and into the healing phase, this makes your symptoms stronger for a short period of time, and then the body can push the pathology out. This is a good sign. So this can look like, all great signs, a healing crisis. These are all great signs. It can look like an aggravation of your main symptoms. So say you came to me for chronic vertigo, you're like, holy cannoli, my chronic vertigo is a lot worse. Okay, great. Actually, wonderful. Hopefully on the other side, there's a huge amelioration of it, right? You can get a skin eruption that you've suppressed in the past. You can get a high fever. Oh my goodness, that is the most amazing sign, because all of the people who I know who have chronic disease don't get high fevers, okay? Because and that fever is how the body heals. It is the ultimate healing response. You can have emotional releases. You're crying, you're getting angry, you're putting up boundaries. Great. You can have die-off symptoms like nausea, fatigue, diarrhea, vomiting. These are all good signs the body is expressing. You could have chronic runny nose, you could have coughing up some phlegm, all good signs. The best part of the aggravation is there should be an amelioration of symptoms on the other side, and the person's symptoms improve and heal at the root. So this process can be the hardest when you go through your healing, but is worth it in the end. Do not fear the aggravation because that is the healing phase. The body is actually moving towards a healing phase when it has an aggravation. These aggravations are how the body heals and how homeopathy brings you to an improved level of health. It removes the damage done from suppressive therapies, can help you release, stuck, trapped emotions and trauma. Homeopathy can change the momentum of the immune system gradually, moving it out of a place of suppression into a place of strength and vitality and integrity. Homeopathy is helping your immune system, be able to come back and fight again. So I want to talk a little bit about the direction of cure. I want to use two examples of this. So hopefully I remember to do that. But the direction of cure is the patterns healers and homeopaths have observed in their patients, and we can use this as a gauge in progress of healing because it's not always linear. So the direction of cure was discovered by a really great homeopath called Constantine Harrington, who actually initially thought homeopathy was nonsense, and he was actually set out to prove that homeopathy didn't work, but he was unable to do so. He was hired to prove that homeopathy was like to debunk homeopathy. So then when he came down with a case of gangrene himself, and allopathic medicine was unable to help him, he turned to homeopathy, which quickly cured him. And from then on, Herring was convinced in the healing power of homeopathy and became a homeopath himself. And he's considered one of the greatest homeopaths in history. So the direction of cure is symptoms appear in reverse order or return of old symptoms. So for example, new symptoms will heal before the old symptoms return, which is the upper layer. So present symptoms heal and then old symptoms return. So an example is your asthma heals and then your eczema returns. Okay. I see that often. So, the newer present symptoms heal, right? Chronic diarrhea heals, acne returns, right? Depression heals, you get a UTI. Heart disease heals, all of a sudden you have joint pain again that you've suppressed, right? Whatever you've suppressed returns. Healing occurs from top down, so symptoms leave the body from the top to the bottom. So they're like, if you have eczema on your torso, it moves out to the extremities, right? You have shoulder pain, all of a sudden your joint hurts, right? It's like, oh, your finger joints hurt, right? It's moving out. It's moving out of the body. You have burning pains in your abdomen, all of a sudden your feet are burning, right? It's like the body's like, it's coming out that way. And healing occurs from within out. I see this one so often, moving from the most important to the least important organ. So the most important organs are like your brain, your heart, most vital. You can't live without your brain or your heart, right? Skin is the least vital and the last to heal. Mental, emotional, and vital organs are addressed first, and then the outer stuff will heal. So it's really healing from the inside out. So it's like almost like we don't get to choose the order of what we want to heal, right? Maybe you want your chronic, your weight gain to heal, but you've got to heal your anxiety and depression first, right? Your weight issues, your hormone imbalance, you got to heal this first. Like this is more important. Or like you want your joint pain to go away, but your heart has to heal first, right? Or you want your skin eruptions to go away, but your chronic anxiety needs to be healed first. We don't always get to choose the direction that our body heals in. The body has this innate intelligence, which and knows knows the order it needs to heal. So another example would be insomnia heals, then your eczema comes back out. So remember, these key signs of healing is return of old symptoms that were suppressed are an awesome sign of healing. Getting an acute. What is an acute? A strep throat, a fever, an ear infection, a flu, a cold, cough, cold, flu, all these things, a yeast infection. All of these things are a really good sign. or a fever with that would even be better, but an awesome sign of healing and that the immune system is strengthening. Acutes are actually how we heal, and lack of acutes is the presence of chronic disease. So a lot of times in healing phases, there's lots and lots and lots of acutes, and this is the body up leveling and getting stronger. Correct homeopathic prescribing has the power to push the organism in the right direction of cure, strengthening the immune system enough to bring back symptoms and fever response. So what does homeopathy offer? Well, it offers hope, possibilities, a chance at a cure, which allopathy is not able to offer. I've seen cures of chronic things that are really, really intense. And I think that having that hope and that possibility and holding that space is really important for people in this day and age. It brings you back to self-alignment a lot. It brings you back to your true self. It's gentle healing. It just nudges the body in the direction that you are ready to go. It is never forcing, it is never suppressing. It only supports the body, never suppresses the body. It gives you a chance at reversing strong genetic predispositions to diseases, so less likely occurrence. It reduces susceptibility, helps you release what no longer is serving you. It's non-toxic. Of course, for acutes, it's great for that, but it's like I said, non-toxic for acutes. It's a safe option for all. And honestly, I think it's a chance to change the trajectory of the world, because if everybody was working on their energetic field, right? Their biofield, their vital force, stronger immune systems, they're more self-aligned, they're going to be in a better vibrational state. And this has a quantum ripple effect on us all, right? Because we're all quantumly entangled. So it would just up level humanity, for sure. So this is just some quotes that I love. Homeopathy cures a large percentage of cases than any other method of treatment and is beyond all doubt safer, more economical, and most complete medicine system of medicine. That's by Gandhi. Homeopathic remedies are gentler and at the same time more powerful than their material counterparts, so safer and more gentle. And as an allopathic grows old, the more he's pessimistic. And as the homeopathic grows, the more he's enthusiastic and optimistic. I love that one. George Valtukas is one of the major goats of homeopathy. Long-term benefits of homeopathy to the patient is that it not only alleviates the presenting symptoms, but it reestablishes internal order at the deepest level. It works at the subatomic levels of the body. It works on the mitochondrial level. I didn't really go into that, but it does. Thereby providing a long-lasting cure. And then Professor Luc Montagnier, who was a Nobel Prize winner, actually, he said high dilutions used in homeopathy, these diluted substances are right. High dilutions of something are not nothing. They are structures that mimic the original molecule. So basically the structure holds the energetic imprint. And just so you know, I do offer webinars on homeopathy. So if you're ready to learn how to self-treat acutes with homeopathy, my acute courses are a perfect way to start learning homeopathy and bringing this medicine into your field, into your realm, into your reality. This way you can be self-reliant for yourself and your family. All courses and webinars are ebooks as well, so you get lifetime access. So there's a webinar and an ebook kind of similar to this. And you can learn how to use these remedies. So also linked is my free homeopathic guide right here. So you can just go and grab that and start building a kit and start learning how to use it, because the guide will teach you little ways to use homeopathy. I have a course on ear infections, which is great. Cystitis, bladder infections, UTIs, kidney infections, kidney stones. The cystitis course would cover all of that. An influenza course, a first aid course, which covers like your bumps, your bruises, but your concussions, your heart attack, your snake bites, your fevers, like lacerations, bruising, all those kinds of things. First aid stuff. I slammed my finger in the door, after surgery support, all kinds of things. Childhood, common childhood ailments is also another great course I have. This is all linked in my, all these courses are in my, on my website under homeopathy courses. You just click the tabs and it's under homeopathy courses. But my one for common childhood ailments covers it's my bigger course. It covers everything. So you're talking your colic, your fevers, your teething, your bedwetting, your UTIs, your ear infections, your strep throats, your whooping cough, your eczema, your boils, your abscesses, I mean, I can't even, it covers literally all kinds of things that your bloody noses, cough, colds, whooping cough, skin eruptions, like all kinds of things. And then my cell salt webinar, which I alluded to earlier, teaches you, this is really great for practitioners as well, because it teaches you how to notice different like cell salt combination or mineral combination deficiencies, how to recognize those in your clients, yourself, your children, and then how to use those said cell salts to then rectify the symptomology that occurs when we have a deficiency in said cell salt. So you can also bundle them all and get them at a discounted rate. So that's there for you if you want to learn, you're interested, homeopathy resonates, you want to start learning, it's great. With acutes, if you have the knowledge of how to use homeopathy and the remedies, you can be highly effective. And the more we treat acutes with homeopathy, the stronger we be, because A, we're not using the suppressive medications that suppress the symptoms and cause deeper pathology, but we are also up-leveling our health by giving our body the correct energetic medicine that supports us. So I'm big on helping people learn. Like I had chronic bladder infections at 5 years old. Well, how would the trajectory of my life would have been instead of being on long-term antibiotics for years? It was on long term. I took antibiotics every day for years. What would the trajectory of my life would have been if I would have taken the correct homeopathic remedy then? Right? I mean, I would have never been on those suppressive medications for years, causing deeper pathology. And I probably could have reduced my susceptibility, not been as susceptible to bladder and yeast infections my entire life. Right. So I'm very big on especially giving homeopathics to children in the right situations. So if you want to know that, learn that, please do so. It's there for you. And then also I have, I want to just say chronic conditions. These courses are not for chronic conditions. If you have chronic cystitis, chronic ear infections, chronic ailments, no, these courses are not for you. They are for acute situations. Okay. And really wish there was people here to ask me questions. I will run this webinar again and hopefully you can join, but I'm really happy to share, this information in any capacity that I can. And I will share it with all the people in my email. I will put it on my YouTube. I will put it on my website because I just want people to know what homeopathy is and the power that homeopathy has. I have seen things like cure from chronic anxiety to chronic depression to chronic UTIs to yeast infections to pneumonia to ear infections to kidney stones to H. pylori, chronic H. pylori infections, chronic diarrhea, chronic constipation. I'm trying to think what else. Thyroid issues, hormone imbalances, mastitis, colic, bedwetting, what else? Behavioral disorders. I'm trying to think what else. Skin infections, boils, abscesses, so many things. Like it's amazing. It, ailments from jabs, so many things. So it's amazing healing modality that I want to spread awareness about. That really is my main thing. And then also here listed for you is just some really amazing books on homeopathy that I love and some really great reference articles. So I hope that this was supportive to you. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you enjoyed it. And I'm going to stop sharing, possibly, or not stop sharing. Stop share. There we go. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I will do it again live. And if people will join, I will then ask questions. Or maybe what I'll do is send this recording out and then, ask me questions about it. Like, I'll put this on my YouTube channel. Put questions down below. I want to answer you. I want to engage you. I want you to become interested. I want to share this knowledge with the world. So please ask me questions, and I'm here to support you. And I do offer clarity calls. My website is brightlightwellnesscoach.com. I offer clarity calls if you want to learn more about me, my offerings. I also do coaching as well, so lifestyle support coaching. I do rhythmic movements. So I have lots of ways you can work with me. So I'll link all that below and you can check all those things out. So thank you so much for joining me. Have an incredible day. My dog is barking. Have an incredible day. Thank you.